MAGA pastor preaches that black people should live under white rule. For one, there's such thing as black and white people. Either you have melanin or you don't have melanin. But nonetheless, though, before I continue, I want to give all the honor, glory, and praise to the Most High Yahawah, His only begotten Son, YAHAWASHI, whom the world ignorantly called Jesus, because the letter J did not exist 2,000 years ago. Double honors to my elders at Great Millstone, singing honors to the elect, peace and blessed to the 1/3, and to the confusion that faces in the four corners of the earth, because there's no such thing as a black Hebrew Israelite, because the transatlantic slave trade shipped us all over the world, so our seed spread all over the world. Nonetheless, though, predominantly the Israelites were dark-skinned people, and the head tribe is Judah, which is the so-called Negro man today. But going back to this individual here, this is why I say I don't like modern day Christianity. I say it every day, and I say it to a Christian's face. And I wouldn't have to be rude. I wouldn't have to be rude. And I tell them why. And this is why. This is from Atlanta Black Star. Now, this MAGA pastor, he's from Arizona. And what he said was, people say, you know, I am going to read the whole article to us. He delivering a hateful sermon and all this and that. You see where my name is at. So specifically, he argued that society should relegate them, quote, a civilizational station of subordination independence. Now, this comes from a man that came from a nation of people that were living in the Caucasus Mountains, in the caves, literally like the caveman. I have a book called The 13th Tribe, okay? I have a book called The 13th Tribe by a Jewish rabbi by the name of Arthur Koestler, which said, if the people living in that land are the people today, the Lord's people, he said there would have to be a 13th tribe. All right? It said they were wearing their clothes till it disintegrated. It said that they refused to use water when they urinated and defecated. Walked around with seminal fluids all on them. And it said one individual on the 9th climb said that he saw one of them pick lice out of their head and he crunched on it and said, delicious. All this is documented, you know. So who should be in subordination? Job, in the book of Job, the 30th chapter, he said he ran you from amongst men. Who do you think were living in the Caucasus Mountains? Where were you for the 1,000 years during the Dark Ages, during the Middle Ages? You was in the Caucasus Mountains, Mount Petra. We ruled you for 1,000 years. That's the history you don't teach over here in the West, but the world knows. Nonetheless, though, you say that we need to be under your rule. Well, see, this is why I say I don't like modern Christianity. Let me tell you why. You see this picture down here? I'm going to show you something. Now, you see this picture down here? This ain't even a lie. This is how early, I'm going to just say the word black, but we Israelites. This is how early black churches started, with white supervision. Now, in actuality, he'll be sitting there with a gun. This is real talk. What was the movie, Birth of a Nation? The remake, even though they had all that African voodoo junk in there. Nah, we're not necromancers, and we don't deal with familiar spirits, and we should not be conjurers. All right, that's like dealing with an 8-ball. Leave it alone. It's a crystal ball. Anyways, this right here goes right back to that movie. Think about this. Why would they want to teach you Christianity? It was against the law to teach us how to read and write. Yes, that's in a book I think called Nature Knows No Color Line, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's history. This is why I don't like modern day Christianity, because they want to keep you relegated to what? Having a slave mentality. So anyways, let's get to what he was talking about. The pastor was discussing Genesis 9:18 through 27, where Noah passes out naked after drinking wine. His son Ham disrespects him and tells his brothers Shem and Japheth. We got to keep going to the ass. The other two brothers respectfully cover their father without looking. I don't see no lie detected here. When Noah woke up and learned what had happened, he cursed Ham's son Canaan to servitude while blessing Shem and Japheth. The Hamites are the so-called Africans today, not the Negroes. Okay, I'm sorry, I keep hitting the mic, y'all. Not the Negroes. All right, we come from SHAM. All right, and the Japheth people will be the people who will be like the Hawaiians and the Fijians. All right, they used to live up in the Isles up in the north. And you know what? I'm gonna prove that we're not Hamitic. The reason why I say this because if you look right here, what it says Partridge claimed, quote, African peoples and some of the people from India, unquote, are the modern day descendants of Ham. What? He argued that God assigned them to be ruled over by, quote, whites, Europeans, Asians, Jews, and Arabs, unquote, whom he identified as descendants of Shem and Japheth. That's going to be a separate video I'm going to have to do. The answers return to European Christian colonization of African nations. First and foremost, let me get back. Hold on. Matter of fact, let me just touch on this right now. I had to bring out a precept. I apologize. Jeremiah 23:1. Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith the Lord. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God of Israel against the pastors that feed my people. Ye have scattered my flock and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doing, saith the Lord. That physically happened in modern day. Not modern. I apologize. That physically happened in transatlantic slaves, in the transatlantic slave trade, and it's also happening to us spiritually right now in these religions. Understand? James 1:5. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea driven with the wind and tossed. So people you're not supposed to just have blind faith. You are supposed to do what? You're supposed to ask the Lord for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And guess what he would do? He would give you teachers that you will see. Listen, spirit heavy now. Check this out. Isaiah 30:20. And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, you know what that's talking about? That's talking about the curses that we had to go through. Yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers. Who are the teachers? Starting with the elders of great millstone on down. Really, Abba Bivens, who through the Spirit we believe to be Elijah reincarnated. Everything based upon faith. Remember what it said to ask for wisdom, but he who do it in faith, never wavering. Right? Continuing on, verse 21. And thine ear shall hear a word behind thee, saying, This is the way, walk ye in it, when ye turn to the right hand and when ye turn to the left. And that goes back to what? John the 10th chapter, when the Lord said, My sheep hear my voice, you are not of my sheep, therefore you hear not my voice. If a dog hears owner's voice, they're gonna do what? They're gonna respond. They're gonna, they know their owner. Like the sheep know their master, they know their shepherd, right? And the Lord didn't send them, because the Lord said He's gonna send you some according to His heart. Jeremiah 3:15, and I will give you pastors according to mine heart. Your heart is your mind, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. And what's the mind of the Lord? Prophecy. The Spirit of the Lord. I know I'm kind of like going through it real quick, but the Spirit just kind of hit me real quick to just get these out. And I'm going to go right back to how we are not the Africans anyway. Revelation 19:10, and I fell at his feet. Who? John the Revelator fell at the angel's feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that hast the testimony of YAHAWASHI. Like I said, the letter J in the English alphabet didn't exist 2,000 years ago. So worship God, Yahawah, for the testimony of YAHAWASHI is the spirit of prophecy. So if you're going to speak, if you're going to testify, you got to speak about what? Prophecy. And you know what? He wasn't wrong for what he said, because that's how they feel. The Lord put the spirit on them to do what? Put us in the captivity. They go back to the prophecy. But anyhow, let's get back to what I was talking about. Pay attention.
lands have been assigned to a civilizational station of subordination and dependence. And the answer to this paradigm is not endless foreign money. That's not the answer to this problem. The answer is to return to European Christian colonization of African nations. I believe that's truly the answer. Let me tell you why. It's the only thing that has historically worked, that has shown fruit. I'm not talking about overtaking Africa. I'm not talking about enslaving Africans. I'm not talking about exploiting Africans. But I'm talking about establishing order, godly leadership, and carrying the gospel to their lands. In fact, the only times
when you came to the damn, I don't get what I'm saying. When you came to the damn Americas, we even got a movie called 1492. The English Puritans, they came here with the Bible, because you got the Bible from King James. I'm getting so upset. I'm getting tongue. Damn lot. You got the Bible from King James. He was the 6th king of Scotland. He was the 1st king of England. He was the one who created the United Kingdom. He stopped Ireland, Ireland and Scotland from beefing and brought them together. He's the one that brought who created the UK flag. I think it was the St. George and the St. Andrew flag. He put the cross and the X together. He the one who created all of that. He the one who created the Basilica Duran, the letter to his son, saying to not be feminine, not to have long nails. So who was this King James, this William Tinsdale that y'all say is gay? He was an Israelite from the house of Stuart, which in German is Svart, which means black. He had a grandchild. They call his grandchild the black child. Like, stop it. Y'all need to stop, man, with these lies. But anyways, the reason why I stopped that and said that, because for one, when you came, the Lord even said it, that when you came, you wouldn't even want to follow the laws. Why is the word even in your mouth? I haven't forgot about what I spoke about right here about the Hamites, but I got to bring that out. Because he's talking about, when I talk about enslaving, we're talking about setting order. Order, you already tried it. Look how it turned out. What are you talking about? This is Psalm 50:16. But unto the wicked, God saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes? Or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth. Matter of fact, let me read the NLT. Psalm 50:16. But God says to the wicked, why bother reciting my decrees and pretending to obey my covenant? Ooh, for ye refuse my discipline and treat my words like trash. Lord, so you treat his words like manure, man. When you see thieves, you approve of them, and you spend your time with adulterers. Man, didn't y'all sell us off with the Africans? But y'all lie and say that we sold ourselves. But then look at how the Africans treat the Negroes that was over here. Matter of fact, they get more benefits to us. Man, y'all know something that we don't know. Y'all know damn well we not the same people. But anyways, you come with the Lord's word and you don't uphold none of it. That's what the Lord said that right here. You already tried that and look at what happened. The Lord said, make no graven image. Like I said, you ain't never seen an Arabic Messiah, an Asian Messiah, or Hawaiian or Fijian Messiah. But who put a picture of the Messiah to depict them as a so-called white man and forced the psychological warfare right there to believe that he looked like our Savior and the oppressor look-alike? They did that to us. And we should go back to what he's saying. Once again, we're not Hamites. That's not our curse. Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood. This is from this Zondervan Bible Dictionary, dating back to 1967. I actually have it up there. I actually have it up there in the closet, with my small library, sanctuary of knowledge. And one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor, that means the father, of the dark races. Okay. Not the Negroes, But the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. His indecency when his father lay drunk and brought a curse upon Canaan. Wow. Look at the state of Africa today. The largest landmass with the most natural resources on earth, and those people are like the poorest people on earth also. How is that? That's a fucking continent, and all the people over there damn near poor. They got signs on the road, like in South Africa and certain places. I'm not saying it's like this all over the place. They got signs literally saying don't defecate on the ground. They don't even have indoor plumbing over there in a lot of places. Don't get it twisted. Nigeria and a lot of those other countries on the West Coast, of course they are now. I wonder how. They're really starting to get modernized, but it's not through America. They're really doing that through Russia and China. But that's a whole nother story. We're not Hamites. We're Israelites. And the Lord said He's going to give you pastors according to His heart. And for also, all this gibberish He's talking about, that don't mean nothing. This has to come to pass. The Lord deals with prophecy, right? So this has to come to pass. I'm going to read this to close out. I'm going to read Revelation 13, 9, and 10, the KJV and the NLT. I don't care what no Christian pastor say today. The Lord said, if you're going to testify, have any testimony, you better speak about prophecy. Well, let's read this. Revelation 13 and 9 and 10 KJV. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Right? Read it NLT. Anyone with ears to hear should listen and understand. Anyone who is destined for prison shall be taken to prison. What was that movie called? The 13 on Netflix, about literally how the 13th Amendment pretty much legalized slavery all over again. But originally, at one point, we were just forced to do it, right? But you have to commit a crime now, and you go for pennies on the dollars and all the other kind of BS, for real. Okay, anyway. Anyone destined to die by the sword will die by the sword. This means that God's holy people, listen here, God's holy people must endure persecution patiently and remain faithful. Who the hell is still getting persecuted right now? That's another video I gotta do. What was the brother name? Nolan Wells or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. They say he has an altercation, went out to an island somewhere with some Edomites on a boat, and he never come back. Come on, man, stop. But anyway, with that being said, I truly pray y'all with that find fair, stay in the spirit, don't fear it, just endure it. Ask for forgiveness, pray without ceasing, stay humble, remain diligent. Kwama Sha'Allah, Mafla Babal, Shalom.